My uncle lay peacefully in his room as I stumbled upon a revelation that would change everything. An infidelity story unfolded before my eyes. Claire is my name, and at the age of 22, I find myself on the cusp of new adventures. One might find themselves curious about how a girl of my age comes to reside with her uncle, particularly in light of the story I am about to unfold. Truthfully, I never envisioned that this would come to pass either. As a graphic design student, I dedicate the majority of my time to the art of drawing, crafting designs, and engaging in freelance projects. Life has presented its challenges ever since my parents parted ways during my childhood. I traversed various places in search of a sense of permanence. In the end, I found myself residing with my Uncle Daniel. It was never intended to unfold this way. Be sure to subscribe to my channel, allowing me to share even more captivating true stories such as this one. Be sure to watch this video all the way through and give it a thumbs up, as the story unfolding is bound to captivate you. Kindly tap the like button to express your support. The journey began when my mother departed for work, leaving me in search of a place to reside as I completed my college studies. Daniel, my uncle, stood as the sole beacon of support within our family. He has shared his life with his wife, Margot, for several years now. In the serene embrace of the countryside, they reside in a stunning house, a world away from the bustling city. I had envisioned this as merely a fleeting relocation to a serene locale, yet the reality unfolded in ways I had not anticipated. Several months passed, and I believed I had settled into the house, embraced the routine, and found solace in the tranquility, or so I presumed. Yet today, an event unfolded, one that I feel compelled to recount. It all began the moment I stepped into Daniel's room, where he lay in peaceful slumber. Before I delve into the details, be sure to subscribe to the channel to keep yourself informed about the unfolding narrative. Allow me to share a glimpse into the life of Daniel. He stands apart from the typical uncles. In my eyes, he has consistently embodied the role of a mentor rather than that of a mere family member. In my formative years, he guided me through the art of riding a bike, imparted skills for repairing various household items, and generously gifted me my first car upon my reaching the age of 18. Thus, when my mother found herself in need of someone to welcome me, Daniel emerged as the clear and natural option. He possesses a deep sense of thoughtfulness, exudes patience, and radiates kindness. Yet, it wasn't solely him that I was preparing to share my life with. Margot, his wife, had been part of the scene for some time now. 2 years have passed since their marriage, and initially, I had my reservations about her. She was older than Daniel, and there was something about her that made me feel like an intruder in their home. At first, I took refuge in the guest room located at the far end of the house, making a conscious effort to remain unobtrusive. As time passed, the initial awkwardness faded, and Margot began to share her insights on cooking, cleaning, and various household matters. We were not best friends, yet it lacked the intensity it once held. I believed that circumstances were improving. However, of late, I've observed something that eludes my understanding. As the moments unfolded in Daniel's company, an undeniable pull towards him began to weave its way into my heart. His smiles, the fleeting brush of his hand, and the way his gaze lingered on me when he believed I was lost in thought. It had an unmistakable quality about it. It was impossible to overlook. A palpable tension started to weave itself between us. A force from which there was no escape. I can sense your thoughts.
Claire, what do you mean by that?
He is your uncle. It seems utterly absurd. I am aware. This bond is irrefutable. I attempted to dismiss it casually, convincing myself it was merely a figment of my imagination. Yet, whenever we found ourselves in solitude, the air seemed to crackle with intensity. It felt as though an unseen force was drawing us closer. This is where the intrigue begins. One evening, after the last bite of dinner had faded, I found myself engrossed in a project within the confines of my room when the sound of footsteps echoed softly in the hallway. Daniel had drifted into a deep slumber for what felt like an eternity. Margot was out with friends, leaving us alone. At first, I didn't think much of it, but then I heard the door to his bedroom creak open. I froze for a moment, torn between letting him rest and stepping inside. Yet, an unseen force drew me closer. I quietly opened the door, careful not to disturb him. There he lay on his back, one arm behind his head, exuding a sense of peace. As he slumbered, the gentle light filtering through the window painted soft shadows across his face, rendering him nearly ethereal. I lingered in that spot for a brief moment. My heart is racing. A warm rush spread across my cheeks. My heart raced. I had never experienced such emotions before. Perhaps I simply desired to gaze upon him. Perhaps it was something deeper. I was unaware. My musings came to an abrupt halt as I inadvertently toppled a vase situated close to his bed. The noise roused Daniel from his slumber. He opened his eyes. In that fleeting instant, our eyes met with an intensity that felt electric. His eyes were clouded with confusion. Yet there exists another element.
2.
Something I found elusive to define. He blinked several times, focusing on myself, then released a sleepy chuckle.
Claire.
"What brings you to this place?" he inquired, his voice heavy with the remnants of slumber. My heart raced, a tempest of emotions swirling within me as I grappled with the elusive words I sought. I wished to avoid the appearance of prying into matters that weren't my own. Yet, I found myself at a loss for words to articulate my thoughts. My mouth felt parched. I had no intention of disturbing your slumber. I stumbled over my words, overwhelmed by a sense of embarrassment. Daniel rose from his slumber with deliberate slowness. He rubbed his eyes. He offered me a smile, the identical variety. The smile he always offered was one of patience. Yet today, a peculiar spark flickered within his gaze. A moment that quickened my pulse. He regarded me intently for a brief moment before he chose to speak once more. "It's all right."
He spoke softly.
"Feel free to share anything with me at any time."
Claire.
"I stand by your side." I inclined my head in agreement. Yet, my thoughts were in a whirlwind. This unfamiliar sensation left me at a loss for how to respond. The atmosphere in the room was dense. My breath quickened, each inhale a hurried whisper of urgency. I simply wished to engage in conversation. I murmured. Daniel's smile dimmed ever so slightly. For a fleeting moment, I believed I caught a glimmer of hesitation in his eyes, only for it to disappear as quickly as it had appeared. He beckoned to the space beside him on the bed. "Approach me. Subsequently, feel free to reach out to me anytime." He spoke with warmth. I lingered in that spot for a brief moment, in a state of uncertainty. Yet an undeniable force within me urged me onward. In a moment of pure instinct, I took my seat beside him. The air crackled with unspoken tension between us, more substantial than ever before. The warmth of his body radiated against my own. The scent of his cologne wafted through the air. We were so near that I could hear his breath and sense the gentle rise and fall of his chest with every inhalation. Once more, my heart raced. And gradually, nearly in a state of slow motion, I gazed up at him. Our faces hovered near, and I could sense the warmth radiating from him. His gaze held a gentle warmth, uncertain. Yet there lingered an additional element, a flicker that sent shivers across my skin.
Claire.
"Are you all right?" Daniel inquired softly. Before I had the chance to respond, I drew nearer to him. My heart raced, and my breath hitched in my chest. It was beyond my ability to articulate, yet all sensations seemed to pulse with an extraordinary fervor, as if the very atmosphere crackled with energy. Daniel remained steadfast, refusing to withdraw. His gaze locked onto mine, brimming with a serene yet powerful intensity. Silence enveloped him, yet his breath grew rapid, reflecting my own. The atmosphere in the room grew more inviting. The stillness that enveloped us grew heavier, laden with unexpressed thoughts. My thoughts swirled in a chaotic dance. All paths converged at this very instant. I found myself unable to resist. Gingerly, I inclined my body closer. My lips quivered, as though I were lost in a dream. They grazed his. Initially, there was a sense of ambiguity, uncertain. Yet in that moment, as his lips brushed against mine, delicate and soothing, I found myself unable to restrain my impulses. My thoughts clamored for me to cease. Yet my body would not comply. This was essential for me. This is what I desired. Daniel's hand gently cradled my cheek, compelling me to draw near. His other hand lay gently beside us, caressing my skin. The warmth of his touch enveloped me. The kiss grew more intense, and soon it became difficult to discern where his lips concluded and mine commenced. All else faded into oblivion. Only the two of us remained, ensnared by this inescapable bond. My thoughts swirled in a tempest of bewilderment, remorse. Yet, there lingered an odd feeling of correctness. What were we engaged in? What made it seem so essential? Words failed to capture the essence of it. There is no rationale to support it. He withdrew for a brief instant. Our foreheads touched softly, a gentle connection between us. Our breaths came in labored gasps. Every breath trembles and lingers. His pulse throbbed against my skin, in sync with the swift rhythm of my own pulse.
Claire.
His voice carried a gentle softness, burdened by an underlying weight. It is not advisable. Yet, uncertainty lingered within me. Indeed, I consented. A part of me stubbornly denied any justification for halting. Gradually, I extended my hand toward his, entwining my fingers with his. He remained close, his fingers entwined with mine, clinging to each other with an intensity that mirrored our shared connection. Our gazes intertwined, and for an extended moment, silence enveloped us. The burden of it all lingered in the space that separated us. Ought we to consider this? Is it possible for us to do so? My hand, almost as if guided by an unseen force, found its way to the nape of his neck. Drawing him nearer, I pressed my lips to his once more. This moment, not a moment of doubt, lingered. Fear not, the undeniable urge to remain near him, to sense his essence. Daniel's fingers traced a path along my spine, pulling me nearer. The connection between our bodies rendered every sensation profoundly intense. I found myself uncertain of the direction this was taking, yet it mattered not to me. I longed to remain in this instant where just the two of us were present. My heart raced within my chest as his lips brushed against my neck. Delicate kisses brushed against my skin. His breath brushed softly against my ear. A chill coursed through me. It was a sensation beyond anything I had ever experienced. Personal, engaging, and profoundly misguided, yet exhilarating in a manner I found difficult to articulate. "Are you certain about this?" He whispered softly against my skin, his voice heavy with longing. "I have no desire to cause you pain." With my eyes shut tight, I surrendered to the darkness, in search of my unique expression. Every fiber of my being cried out for me to halt, to withdraw. Yet I found myself unable to do so. The yearning was overwhelming. The need is too powerful. Thoughts were a burden I wished to cast aside. I had no desire to challenge anything. All I desired was to be by his side. "I am certain," I murmured, my fingers gliding across his chest, experiencing the gentle heat of his skin under my touch. "This is what I desire. Daniel, I desire you." Once more, his lips sought out mine. In that moment, the kiss transcended into something more profound, increased urgency. At this point, retreat was no longer an option. The realm beyond these walls held no significance. It was solely the sensation he evoked within me, yearned for, required, and vibrant in a manner I had never encountered before. The walls of the room appeared to encroach upon us, tightening their grip. The light faded, deepening the bond that tethered us together. Each caress, each kiss resonated with the unspoken promise of deeper connections yet to unfold. It was a mystery that eluded both of our grasp. Yet, we stand poised, eager to embark on our journey of discovery. His heartbeat resonated steadily with my own, harmonizing with the cadence of my essence. Yet, a fragment of my being continued to resist the undeniable truth of the unfolding events. A significantly greater portion of my being yielded entirely. It had transcended the mere act of kissing. It transcended mere description. A bond that defied explanation enveloped me. A connection that transcended mere language. "This desire has lingered within me for an eternity," Daniel murmured softly. His breath lingered, warm against my lips. His words were a distant murmur, barely registering as my hands explored the contours of his form, experiencing the sinews and fibers that lie just beneath the surface of his skin. The warmth of his presence. His response to me was quite telling. Yet, the point of no return had been reached. The only force at play was the magnetic pull between us, drawing us ever closer, in a manner that caught us both off guard. Time appeared to freeze as we immersed ourselves in one another. Within the serene cadence of our embraces, the gentle embrace of our hands. In that moment, for the first time, everything seemed to fall into place. In the quiet of the room, we transcended the roles of uncle and niece. We were two souls intertwined by a connection that ran far beneath the surface. It was an experience more profound than anything I had ever encountered. The atmosphere surrounding Daniel and me was laden with an unmistakable tension. Neither of us stirred. Silence enveloped us both. In an instant, the stillness was broken by the creaking of the front door swinging open downstairs. We stood still. My heart pounded in my chest. I swiftly distanced myself from Daniel. A surge of panic fills my chest. What have we just accomplished? What was unfolding between us? A wave of guilt enveloped me. Yet it was intertwined with another essence, a longing I could not dismiss. I found myself ensnared between the fleeting intimacy of our recent encounter and the undeniable truth that we were caught in a complex web of connection. We found it challenging to reverse. Daniel remained still for a moment. His gaze was fixed upon me. Yet, his expression remained a mystery. The warmth radiated between us, palpable and electric. The persistent intimacy that remained unbroken.
Eva,
He murmured softly. His voice was taut. Before he had the chance to utter another word, the rhythmic sound of footsteps reverberated as they ascended the stairs. Daniel heard a voice that struck a familiar chord within me. My heart plummeted. It was indeed Margot. I sprang from the bed with haste. My breath came quick and shallow. Uncertainty enveloped me, leaving me at a loss for direction. Thoughts surged through my mind, darting in every conceivable direction. Yet, I found myself at a loss for an escape from this predicament. Could I truly confront her after everything that had just transpired? The door to Daniel's room slowly creaked open. And there she stood, Margot, positioned within the threshold. A look of astonishment etched across her features. Her gaze danced between Daniel and me. Her expression was a tapestry of confusion as she absorbed the unfolding scene.
is that you, Eva?
Daniel? What is happening in this moment? She inquired. Her voice wavered with uncertainty, yet there lingered an additional element. A fleeting sense of understanding, perhaps, that indicated to her that something was amiss. A wave of pallor washed over me, leaving my face devoid of color. Margot's presence struck like a splash of icy water. In that fleeting instant, all seemed amiss. This was beyond explanation. There was no way to rationalize the events that had just unfolded between Daniel and me. My throat constricted, a palpable tension rising within me as I grappled with the elusive words.
We.
I stumbled over my words. At a loss for words, Daniel, currently perched upon the bed, appeared equally adrift. He ran his hand along the nape of his neck, undeniably flushed with embarrassment. I find myself at a loss for words to articulate it. Margot shifted her gaze from him to me. In that moment, an unarticulated connection lingered between us. It felt as though, in that fleeting instant, all things transformed. Margot sensed that an event had transpired, something that ought not to have happened. Yet, her response took me by surprise. Rather than feeling anger or disappointment, a profound silence enveloped the surroundings. A haunting melancholy lingered in her gaze. She entered the room. She closed the door softly behind her. She exuded an undeniable authority. And the room descended into an unusual silence. A heavy stillness enveloped the air, as if serenity lingers just moments before chaos descends.
Claire.
It is essential for you to grasp a particular point. Margot spoke softly. Her voice was more delicate than I had expected. What lies beneath the surface is far more intricate than you might perceive, beyond the comprehension of either of you. My gaze fell upon her. My mind is awash with confusion. What was her intention? What else remained? The silence hung in the air long after Margot had departed. Her words lingered in the atmosphere, imprinting a lasting impression on us both. In the midst of all the chaos, her serene comprehension and willingness to guide me provided an unforeseen gift. Anticipation. Margot felt no anger. She did not abandon us. Rather, she offered us an opportunity, a possibility that seemed delicate and ambiguous. Yet it remains present. I cast a fleeting look at Daniel. His expression was a blend of remorse and bewilderment, along with an elusive emotion that I couldn't quite pinpoint. He averted his eyes from mine. His hands fidgeted, rubbing together in a restless dance. He bore the heavy burden of the events that had transpired. How our worlds had intertwined in the most unforeseen manner. Yet, the deeper I delved into the matter, as I came to understand, it became increasingly clear that none of this had been orchestrated by anyone. The events had transpired in a manner that eluded our grasp. One thing I was certain of was that we could not turn a blind eye to it. We could not feign that nothing had transpired. Margot had a point there. The emotions and uncertainty. All matters required attention. It was a confrontation that could not be avoided, approached directly. "Daniel," I murmured. My voice quivered ever so slightly. "What shall we do next?" Daniel cast his gaze in my direction. His eyes brimmed with a tumultuous blend of feelings. "I am uncertain."
Claire.
I'm at a loss for my emotions. What should one ponder? I'm uncertain whether I ought to feel anger, filled with a sense of shame, or if I'm even permitted to experience any emotions whatsoever. His voice trembled, unveiling the turmoil that lies within his expressions. He found himself caught in the throes of a profound bond we had forged, yet his allegiance to Margot weighed heavily on his heart. His beloved spouse. The matter could not be resolved in a single dialogue. The situation was far from straightforward. With a steadying breath, I approached him, bridging the gap that separates us. I felt compelled to connect with him, to offer solace in his time of need. Yet, I found myself questioning whether that was indeed the appropriate course of action. Uncertainty clouded my judgment, leaving me adrift in a sea of doubt. "I doubt we will unravel all the mysteries at this moment," I spoke in a gentle whisper. "However, I believe it is essential for us to have a conversation, to engage in honest discourse with one another. This matter is far too intricate to overlook." Daniel inclined his head with deliberation. His expression was grave, yet devoid of anger. "Indeed, I am aware. I'm uncertain about how to begin." I grasped his hand. The contact was both soothing and imbued with a silent intensity. "We begin by acknowledging the events that transpired, the emotions we experienced, the emotions that linger within us. And then we discern what unfolds thereafter." He gave another nod. His expression softened ever so slightly. "The path ahead will not be simple."
Claire.
Yet I yearn for comprehension. I seek to comprehend the dynamics unfolding between us. I tightened my grip on his hand. The touch was both soothing and laden with unexpressed feelings. "I lack all the answers, Daniel. I find myself at a crossroads, uncertain of what the future holds. Yet I am not fleeing from this. Not any longer." We lingered in quietude for a brief moment, each ensnared in their own reverie, attempting to unravel the complexities of all that had transpired. A path ahead remained shrouded in uncertainty. There are no simple solutions. The feelings, the bewilderment, the experience was utterly consuming. Yet, what Margot extended to us was a beacon of hope, a realm where we confront all challenges side by side, to face the chaos we had discovered ourselves amidst. I cast my gaze upon Daniel once more, and for the very first time, no matter what unfolded thereafter, I sensed a profound certainty. We would confront it with sincerity. A flawless resolution eluded them. There is no straightforward solution to rectify the situation. Yet, amidst the shadows, a glimmer of hope remained, yearning for clarity and restoration, and perhaps for something beyond that. As I reclined, my mind is a whirlwind of possibilities. Margot lingered in my thoughts, an inescapable presence. What she had expressed, with her calmness and her offer of understanding, had unveiled a door I hadn't even known was there. She hadn't turned us away, she hadn't cast judgment upon us. Instead, she had granted us the space to breathe, to process the events that had transpired. Yet, what lay ahead? How would the narrative unfold if we dared to confront the depths of our lingering emotions? Could we forge a path forward, or would the burden of it all prove insurmountable? Those were questions for another time. In this moment, it was just Daniel and me, enveloped in the silence of our shared uncertainty. We both understood that nothing would ever return to its former state. All we could do was take the next step, whatever that might entail, and somehow, together, we would navigate this journey.